Hello, viewers. I'm SB,
And I'm Amabel.
and welcome back to Humankind.
Humankind.
Welcome back to Humankind, where we're building a world wonder. We're building the Colossus of Rhodes, because why wouldn't we? I love it when we have industry for adjacent harbor. Annabelle, don't you think you're quite knowledgeable about history? Don't you think mostly the story of humanity has turned on industry on adjacent harbor? Hasn't that sort of been the thing always?
Uh, for a very long time, actually, yes.
Look at that.
You know,
I'm a
a
I'm a
lot
history
of
genius.
towns, cities are built on waterways with access to water, on rivers, whatnot. Both, because of farmland and the ability to trade and travel, and also because, like, on a kind of a military level, especially before you really have like roads as we know them, it's very hard to get much supply inland.
Hmm.
So that's why things tend to be built around rivers and oceans and lakes and whatnot.
So note this: the foreign outpost technology gives us access to the quadrireme, which is the first ship that is merely damaged by spending multiple turns in deep water instead of actually destroyed. So this will expand our ability to see the world around us pretty considerably. Um, we also have access to rhetoric here, which is a dead end for a while technologically. Like the next thing that it uh, that it is a prerequisite for is in the distance, but there's a lot to be said for the library, which is just +1 science per population, no matter what those population points are doing, because we have been very growthy.
Hmm.
Um, we
I mean, I'm a fan of
could head
libraries.
for craftsmanship, like industry is always good.
I will admit, it's been a little while since our last session, so I don't remember where we were or where we are heading. So
I'm going to
you
click on the
definitely
rhetoric button here.
okay.
So where we're heading is just sort of into the future. We're doing quite well, I think, in this era. We are not in the scoring lead because the other players spent some time in that first era really running up the the fame. We might want to
Yeah.
do that a little bit here. We're in, I think, a pretty okay position to do so. Given that we're close to a science star, we're close to an expansion star,
Yeah.
we're close to a builder star. Like we definitely don't want to move right when we get the next thing.
Right.
And in fact, after the science star, there's even another science star that is even more valuable, and I do think that's probably gettable. We're certainly getting better at producing science, and we're just sort of starting to really feel out the world around us. Now, look at this. Look at this. Blue's got a pair of military things moving in here. He's got his immortals. We have a narrative event going on. Your merchants trek the world, reaching great markets in far climes and selling your highly prized natural riches for much coin. Conversely, your empire sees many traders from distant lands visit our plazas with their goods, their wit, and their provocative ideas. When their knowledge contradicts the wisdom of your elders, it raises a question of who you should trust. So, who are the authorities of knowledge? Who's the biggest influence on your empire's knowledge? We can, of course, stick to the wisdom of the elders. We must not forget the lessons of our own history, pushing us considerably in the direction of tradition and giving us +1 stability per researcher on each city. Or we can instead push in the direction of foreign innovation, pushing us toward science, progress, uh, at a cost of 1 point of stability per bought resource, but +1 science per bought resource. And we did just start resource trading, right? Like this actually has some significant effect.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
definitely am inclined to lean this way.
I am as well.
There
And,
must
and
be an
and
awful
that's
lot in
less
that
a
wide
mechanical thing
world
for
that the
me,
elders never
and more
even
just
thought of.
the role playing of it. Of like, no,
Yeah.
I want new ideas. Want to be kind of cosmopolitan.
So blue is threatening us, right? Like this is a move that suggests violence.
Have a seat. Have a glass. Let's get to know each other.
In theory,
Oh, he's
we
all
are
buddy buddy now.
yeah, but we are not, not aggressive, and he might just be moving around because he does do that. But we're seeing here 29 combat strength immortals, some swordsmen who are a little bit less impressive. He's got javelin throwers at 21, so definitely like a tier behind. And these immortals are particularly good at fighting from high ground, fortified positions, pretty good at fighting horses, particularly not one of our big concerns. We are not going to be running a cavalry heavy force.
Blades in the water.
He just bought a copy of another resource from us and backed his military up, so maybe we're good. Like the only question for me is, do we need to pull one of our cities off of producing the Colossus to make some military units, or can we just speed this and then build some stuff afterward? I would much prefer to run through this really fast, especially because it gives bonus combat strength to our automatic defensive troops. I'm gonna perhaps be foolish here. Oh, they're really moving in. I have to admit, I will be impressed with him if he does attack. I'll be impressed with his chutzpah. I don't think he's got it in him, basically.
It has been 76 turns. Yeah, I don't.
I'm on it.
You know what? He has real Bugs Meanie energy, you know?
Sure.
He's like, "Oh, I'm so tough. Oh, okay, never mind."
Hey, give me your stuff or I'll beat you up. Okay, beat me up then. Well,
Uh.
I mean, I would. Oof. All right, you got it coming, buddy. Just you wait. What are you doing? What are you doing?
What was the name? Do you remember the name of Encyclopedia Brown's bodyguard? She was tough.
She was a cool character. I do not remember her name. So there's something my brain wants to say like Leon. I know it's not Leonora, but Leonora is the thing that came out of my head first, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah, it's not that because his name is Leroy.
Well,
Leroy
yeah,
Brown.
but that doesn't really come up. It's not like you would get confused. People don't call him Leroy all that much.
Once per book, they call him Leroy to remind you.
Amabel.
Yeah, that's how you write
that's not
series
all
books
that
for children.
That's not all that much. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
We're on the same page here, but you're making it sound like you think we're not.
You know what I love about Encyclopedia Brown is there's one.
I know that it's
adventure in
many
each book.
things
Yeah, there's one adventure in each book though, where
where he doesn't get it.
his dad, the chief of police, is like, "Oh, there's this robbery or this murder, and I don't know how to do it." And then his kid solves it for him, and all the other ones are real low stakes kid stuff. But there's one mystery each book, where it's like he's just solving a straight up murder.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Well, geez, my 9-year-old son. Mrs. Brown says she was raped, but I don't know.
Oh,
I just want to take the concept and tweak it even a little darker, just a little darker.
wow. Okay, so chat. I was gonna say, comment with your favorite Encyclopedia Brown memories and tell me where I've got it wrong. 'Cause there probably weren't actual murders. And do you know the name? I'm trying to get your engagement up.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
So we did hit the star. Like I said, we're not going.
Yeah.
We hit the first, for the record, the star that we hit was the first aesthete star. The second one is at 6,900. We are making like 100 influence per turn, so it'd be like another 33 turns. I don't think we'll probably hang out that long. It is not my plan to hang out that
We're get-
long.
But we're gonna get another science and building star, right?
Certainly another science. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. So, like, the next district star is 7 districts away,
Okay.
and that's definitely easier and more likely to happen if we do manage to take more land.
This colossus is a mighty image for a mighty empire, and it's discreetly garbed in a toga for those who pass beneath.
Does the Colossus of Rhodes have a fully modeled dick? This is the question. And if not, why not? Are the ancient sculptors of the world cowards? Amabel, this is not an idle question. I'm asking you something.
Oh, I mean, I don't. I mean, we don't have the Colossus of Rhodes anymore, so we don't know, right?
What do you mean we don't know? Nobody ever wrote on the subject of whether it had a massive hanging dong
You
that
know,
you could
I'm
see
not
from
sure.
ships as you went underneath it.
I would say, as far as ancient history goes, I really am less invested in like the
Dong.
wonders and whatnot.
Okay. This is going to be a considerable amount of food in this city. Definitely should pick that up for 1 turn. This will be better once we've developed our farmers' quarters more. But like, I am definitely considering whether it is time to push some troops. Obviously, like every person we turn into a military unit is a person who is not doing the thing that I would like them to be doing, which is producing industry for the city. So I don't wanna push it unless we have to. But like, having a couple of noble javelineers around is probably not a horrible idea. There's something to be said for the concept of a standing army, right?
Yeah.
Especially with this stuff going on. We built a little fortification. We are ready to do battle, and it doesn't cost very much at all to build these troops. Like, if you can see here, 63 industry produces a roughly on tier military unit, and our city is currently outputting 271 per turn. I'm wondering, do we have some overflow we must have some overflow in the bar, is why it looks like that. Well, I'm gonna construct this artificial reservoir first anyway, because river bonuses are extremely powerful in that city. And then we're gonna grab some other stuff here. So, mounted warfare gives us access to some horsemen, which we don't really have the horses to run anyway. We might want to grab fortifications, because this upgrades the default defense unit, and it's a really cheap research because it's so early in the era and we just hadn't grabbed it yet. So this will give us a little bit more defensive power. We do have also a few districts queued up in Tikal, which will get us about halfway to that builder star pretty quickly.
Okay. So, do you want me to tell you about the Colossus of Rhodes?
Sure. Educate
so
the viewer. Obviously, I already know everything, but
Yeah,
for the
we
viewers.
don't know about his dong. We're not sure exactly what the statue looked like. There's some. We pretty much know what the face looked like based on it was the kind of face that was sculpted at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably 108 feet high, about 2/3 of the height of the Statue of Liberty.
Okay.
It fell during an earthquake and was never reconstructed because the Oracle of Delphi was like, "Don't do that. It's gonna be bad vibes, man. I'm very high." And they're like, "All right, we accept what you say, high person." And it was not built. And then when Rhodes was taken over, all the remains were melted down and sold off. So that's why we don't really have it. The thing where the statue is on two pedestals, like, and you can pass underneath him, and it's just that's just something people in the Middle Ages made up.
Because it would be cool.
Yeah, and because people in the Middle Ages made that up, everyone else just kind of assumed it was true for a long time.
Hmm.
But that's very impractical, especially for
Yeah.
statue building techniques of the time. So
Yeah, that makes
that
sense. That
probably
makes sense.
was not accurate, and that's all that we have about the Colossus of Rhodes.
I am gonna push for that builder star. I think.
Alright.
I don't think he's coming at us. I asked for open borders and he took it. I mean, he gave us open borders in exchange for some money. But also, I discovered a boat. I found a boat in one of
Okay.
these points of interest. So real proper boats are much better at moving on the sea even before you have access to, normal sea movement, obviously. Because while they still have that coastal ship thing, they have 4 points of movement to use it with.
Mhm.
So you get to see a lot more. Ooh. You just see a lot more stuff before you have to stop. That's
Yeah.
interesting news.
Yeah. And we're at 3,200. So have we moved into second place now?
No.
Oh,
Pink is
so little.
continuing to gain ahead of us. Green is absolutely running away with the game because I do not think Pink is offering much resistance to them.
Yeah.
It sure seems like. So that's unfortunate for us. We're going to have to do something probably.
I mean, this is probably a challenge with making these games, right? Is that not only do you have to deal with the AI being kind of bad at playing the game, but they're also bad at holding each other in check.
Yeah, so like in a place where there's like if you have a continent where there's 4 AI, one of them is probably going to become extremely powerful.
Yeah.
It's very often the case. Yeah, I'll pay 386 coins for attack.
I'd
Just
be
give me-
interested in knowing if that's a problem that they tried to approach at all, because I think of something like there was a computer game version of the Avalon Hill game 1830, which is a train game,
Mhm.
and you'd have AI opponents, like
Yeah.
3 or 4 opponents, to play the positions of the board game, and the way they would work is as long as one of them won, all of them were kind of happy. So they would do like really ridiculous things that they shot them from to just like shot themselves in the foot to allow one of them to run away with it, so that you, the player, the actual player, didn't win. And let's do this narrative event.
Okay. In just a few short years, sailing has gone from a dangerous experiment to a prized skill among your citizens. Your shores bustle with activity, while ships can be seen up and down the coastline as they use landmarks to guide their way. Yet some seasoned mariners have suggested it is possible to navigate further into the oceans by referring instead to the positions of the sun, moon, and stars. What should your response to this proposal be? We can gather the observations of the skies from all of our sailors in reducing the damage from the lost at sea effect so that we can actually bear a turn of it. Or, to have mastered travel that follows the shore is no small feat. There is no need to chase these stars. And we get some bonus movement speed. I mean, I
Yeah.
will
Let's do
say
that.
this takes us toward collectivism. It's interesting that the narrative events often the options don't actually oppose each other, right? So this takes us one direction on the top axis, and this takes us one direction on the bottom axis.
Yeah. Well, so what I was saying was, like, approaching this problem of AI design for one of these games, opponent design, like, do people approach it as I am building like 3 or 4 distinct AI, 3 or 4 distinct opponents, each trying to win, or are we building a
Oops.
group of AIs meant to stop the player from winning?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's really a question.
Is it? Well, that's why I'm asking. I
Okay.
don't know.
Your players are going to get, and to be clear, it absolutely does happen. It is a reality of the form that in some of these games, part of the difficulty scaling is that the AI players will preferentially target the human players more and more and more. People, to be
Okay.
clear, absolutely fucking hate that. It is a thing you will see endless complaints about in any game that has it on, whatever forum is used to talk about that game.
Then they shouldn't do that.
Well, I mean, is it
It'll be interesting
necessarily
to
a bad thing to do stuff your players hate? I don't know. Sometimes players are not the brightest.
I do things my players hate all the time. That's yeah. I think it's gonna be interesting once you show me some of these. I know I've seen a couple, but like see some of these kind of 4X adjacent things that are single player
Hmm.
as to how they approach player win or loss conditions and friction from computer controlled forces.
Yeah. So I should probably build a harbor out on this side of the island. I'm inclined to do it like really far out here. I think this will do. All right, so these two districts that we currently have building are the last two that we need for the star.
Okay, actually, I have a question about wonders.
Okay.
But pick your thing first, and then we'll.
So we don't have anything
Here's
further
the
back.
screen.
I just say like foreign outposts is definitely something worth looking forward to. Craftsmanship, of course, is just more industry and is always going to be very good.
Okay,
Let's get on foreign outposts. So as far as technology goes, we are 3 techs away from the third one of these
Okay.
stars as well. He's just dancing back and forth with his armies, uncertain whether he wants to try something or not. What an odd fellow. All right, so we have to decide at some point here, like, when are we going to just cut loose and go for it?
Mhm.
I think the answer for me right now is not this turn. We have this effect for a few more turns. I'm going to spend another turn setting up here, and then we're going to just, like, really forge into the fog.
Okay.
These guys kind of just can't... They can't get anywhere. They want to so badly, but they can't really see anything. Kind of just idly wandering back and forth at this point. Buying out the harbor is not really an option.
So my question about wonders is,
Yes.
are they permanent?
Yeah.
Is that generally true across 4X games that have
Yeah.
building wonders? That's really strange.
You can't... I hate to say this in a way that is going to make, like... I am not trying to make players of video games sound infantile, generally. But there definitely is a strong strain of...
Loss aversion.
Sure. Well, I'm going to say, like, I do think that it has a lot of broad sweeping effects, and so I don't want to downplay it too much either. I do think there is a very strong strain of how dare you that runs through sort of like the AAA, the mainstream video game base. If you hang out in video game forums, you'll see people describe inevitably any patch change or anything that reduces their personal player power, even if it is in a way that is obviously good for the game as a whole, as a slap in the face, as a personal insult, as them being punished. They
I've
love
read fighting game patch notes. I understand.
they love that idea that they're being punished for something. And I do think it comes from a bad place, like a fundamentally very bad place. That army kind of vanished off into the fog here, which I guess is fine. All right, let's try to forge some new ground. Wow, there is nothing out here. It is nice to have a proper boat.
The fact that wonders, the idea of, I mean, first of all, just like a big construction project that we call a wonder because of the 7 wonders of the ancient world.
Mm-hmm.
But only one of those still exists, my dudes and dudettes.
So now we have the Huns as neighbors. Raiders on horseback.
Greetings. I'm a good neighbor and a loyal friend. As long as you don't cross me.
Well, at least we know her now. We can get some kind of idea what's going on.
Okay.
Life is wonderful, is it not? Treat me and my people with respect, and all will be well. We've been going nowhere. Shall we try forward?
You have my interest.
Okay, so she's entered our territory. Is how we met her. She is asking to sign an agreement immediately. She's like, "Hey, signing empires are able to participate in each other's cultural wonder projects. We'll choose between receiving money, influence, or leverage upon completion." Very interesting. You know what? I'm gonna sign that.
Thank you. I agree. This is unexpected. Excellent.
What about trade?
Generous. A very generous proposal. You extend an offer. I ask that you enrich it. This is not what I want.
So that's a lot of money.
Do.
That's a lot of our money, and it is like 10 turns of our income. Well, 9-ish. So let's see here. What are her archetypes? She's cruel, and to be clear, this means cruel to her own population. She's vindictive, never forgets what happens in the past. Has a little bit of a military focus. Wants to trigger a nuclear apocalypse. Okay. So we're getting a sense then of who this person is. The thing is, trade's going to give us some inroads, right? I'm going to go ahead and pay.
At last we meet. Please don't disappoint me.
So we are a level 2 merchant. While having this badge, nodes along its owner's trade routes provide vision within a radius, increasing with the level of the badge. So because we are trading with 2 players,
Cultural wonder.
we're getting
In
some...
my considered opinion, one of your competitors garnered a lot of fame building that monstrosity.
Yep, she got the lighthouse. So yeah, all of our trading posts are giving us a little bit of vision, so we have some idea what's going on with her. We now know what would happen if we kept sailing west with this ship. It's not necessarily super useful to us. And we have many
Let us
things going on.
formalize our mutual appreciation.
He wants to formally share maps.
Let me see.
My feeling is that he doesn't have a lot to gain from our maps, honestly, because we know that he's had troops all the way around the south end of the continent. So the odds are pretty good that this just doesn't do anything for anybody, but I think it's more likely that this helps us than him.
Okay.
Most glorious. Yes.
Perfect. Days like this, I'm glad to be alive.
Plus a little bit of friendship, you know. He's feeling a little bit more hesitant to get into trouble. We're trading resources, and now, like, the more he sort of bends his economy around the incomes from our stuff, the less likely he is to go nuts on us. Obviously.
Impressive. A
Yeah, and he doesn't
cultural
know shit.
wonder that makes me want to pull out my toy blocks and go crazy.
Announcer guy, take it easy.
He doesn't have a lot of territory.
He doesn't know we choked him off quite effectively, and I knew we were doing that. We talked about those decisions while I was making them, but this might be your first opportunity to really see the the extent of it, which was very much intentional and on my mind. So yeah, getting libraries up, good idea. The Empire's achievements in the sciences are already a matter of great pride. Now, a bright, industrious woman hailing from the Empire's most renowned center of learning, Unug, has presented you with an atlas of the heavens, dividing the stars into constellations. Their wheeling nature, once the domain of the gods alone, now approaches human comprehension. How should it be used? Well, we could share this with our Empire's armies to give us an edge in exploration, making them +2 vision range, eagle-eyed for 10 turns. Or we could educate. With adequate funding, a work like this could inspire a generation of artists and thinkers. Hell yeah, +10 science per turn. I love that.
Yeah.
+10 science per turn on each of our cities, when I believe our total science output prior to that was only like 90. Okay, it had gone up a little bit, but yeah, it was in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good overall. Definitely going to build a library here as well. Sure. High priorities. Oh, we should get some of those diplomatic units. So this is how we met her. Actually, it was not that we sailed to her; it was that she sailed to us, which is a little embarrassing. I had been sort of feebly pushing outward in all directions.
So did she sail around, or did she sail?
Well, she might just have ships on the west coast of this landmass. Right?
Okay.
Who knows how long that landmass is? Does she have more to say? Okay, so we can get access to some of her stuff. Maybe maintenance fees, but... And I guess we do have access to some of these things already, right? So like we have our cities are covered in regards to incense. Lead is a new one. +1 science per researchers. That's pretty good. Yeah, she only has one. Okay. Trying to lean in on the research a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
It would be really nice if we could pull one more region somewhere, one more territory. There's a lot of fame connected to that last territory. All right, we earned our last builder star, so that's a big chunk for us. It still has us distantly in third. I had to say, I do not remember the AI being this good at the actual, like, important parts of this game before.
Yeah.
It may be that I'm playing much worse than I think I am. Totally could be the case. Is she expansionist? So her people are just allowed to disregard all the rules? I'm gonna stand here and just kind of like be in the way. Unfortunately, it feels to me like we're really not likely to find
codified and searchable
territory.
has become available to all. This is no small gift.
All right, pair of libraries at the same time. Pretty good news. Let's cross this ship over to here, and we gotta hope that there's a landmass somewhere. So I can't pick this up with this unit. They can't interfere with it, I imagine, either, so there's not really a strong reason for us to, like, go up there and stand on it to keep them off of it or anything. What else do we need? We have a fair amount of science going on here. Let's increase the number of researcher slots we have. Yeah, since blue is not even pretending to threaten us anymore, I'm gonna push hard on the science stuff. So once we get the last science star, we will have to decide whether we feel like it's worth it to hang around trying to find territory.
Yeah.
We can now make quadriremes, so we can probably upgrade this ship into one. Yeah. We'll gladly spend the money on that. Okay, that is going to help us. That is going to help us find some stuff for sure. And I'm just bringing my scouts home to base, more or less a defensive position. Not that they're going to help a huge amount if war should occur, but they're here for something. All right, let's get craftsmanship. Now feels differently about you. Condescending.
It was not love or hate at first sight. Let's see how second sight goes.
All right, trust between us is stable, but he's building up his military, and that's giving him ideas.
I mean, you could, if you build up your military, you can take him out, right?
Possibly. Wars are costly, Amabel.
No, I understand that.
And they can be costly in a way that gets embarrassing pretty quickly sometimes.
And that's fun for the viewers to watch.
That might be fun for the viewers to watch, maybe.
I'm trying to think about the entertainment value of the product. You're always like, Amabel, remember, we're doing an entertainment product. I'm like, okay, I remember. I'm trying.
All right, so
Okay,
we need
what
two
do we
more
need for the
attacks.
diplomat star? What do we need for the diplomat star?
we need
I'm sorry.
24
I'm
leverages.
sorry. Okay, what's the one to the left of it then? The one that's 6 out of 7. That's
The expansionist territories.
gotcha.
We need to fight. I'm working on it. I'm trying.
okay.
I am going to pick up an envoy here in this city. Because I do want to. I do
A
want
lot
to go
to
and
keep track of, and I'm trying.
grab some leverages. All right, so an agreement proposal has been made. Let's go see it.
If I cannot teach you wisdom, I will teach you regret.
But please, let us work together on each other's buildings. You know what? Fine.
Gladly.
This is cause for celebration. Let's take a moment to enjoy.
Because he wants that deal enough to ask for it. And those deals break if they're of a crisis occurs, right? Isn't that a thing we learned?
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully this thing will
first
get us some
envoy.
interesting information.
This seasoned traveler represents you abroad and also has quite a nose for intel of interest.
Wow, and a considerable movement speed. There's going to be something out here. It can't just be infinite water forever, right? Right? All right. Blue is building the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, which I don't really necessarily have any interest in participating in. I also don't know that I think we need to make military stuff, so maybe we start building our own wonder. We could claim another one. Not much left, actually. So, the Pyramid of the Sun and the Statue of Zeus are extremely similar, except that the Pyramid of the Sun gives more food, and the Statue of Zeus gives more money.
You seem to be shorter of money more often than food.
Yeah, but I like food.
I know you do, sweetheart.
Wow. Amabel,
What?
be nice to me.
Am I being mean to you?
A little bit.
That wasn't meant to be mean.
That felt a little bit like a burn.
No, we.
You don't think
something we
so?
both- Something we both. I mean, I didn't mean it as one. Something we both enjoy is food. Food is like one of the. There are like 3-ish things I have organized my life around, and one of those is food.
Yeah, thank you for
So
doing that in the family friendly way. I don't think we really need mounted warfare, honestly. I think we're going to skip it. Conquest is going to give us the star. And if we haven't espied a landmass that we could take advantage of by then, I think maybe we're just moving on. Looks like we're close to a population star as well.
Yeah, I mean, really, historically, especially in the ancient period, once you get past like chariots and whatnot,
Whether dumb luck or seafaring genius, the first new continent has been discovered.
Phooey.
mounted warfare mostly is about reconnaissance, mobility, not about like the fighting itself, and
Yeah.
about the rich people feeling self-important. So like, don't need it. Not now. You know, once
So that was
once you have
almost
armored knights, it's a whole different situation.
that was almost a
but-
star by itself. That amount of leverage. That would be cool to get again.
Yeah.
So how quickly our food keeps pushing upward, but our territories are also pretty packed. Like a population in 5 turns. Food here is actually like slightly negative, stable but slightly negative. The pyramid will help with that. So the 5 extra points of population we would need to get this population star probably is not realistic.
Okay.
All right, this army actually will die if we don't get them into the shallows. I don't think we formally have open borders.
In every sense of the question.
She's going to charge us for this.
You intrigue me.
Ah, she wants too much. Okay.
You extend an offer.
Well, here's the thing. I am allowed to be in this territory because it's not solidified yet. So we're just going to go ahead and move in here so that we don't lose the boat. I can't.
You must be out of your mind.
It's a little harsher than I would have liked for you to make that, but I understand.
I do love how these feel so much more expressive to me than the stuff in Civ. You know, I really enjoy the personality and the punch of the writing here.
I mean, I feel like the Civ stuff has personality, right?
Yeah, no,
it can be a little silly even.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying there is more of it here
Site,
for me,
built
and I
to
like it
provide
more
a
here.
place of worship and a place of peace. The people will be appreciative. You may never know what the Teotihuacanas called it. As one of the world's largest pyramids, I call it amazing.
Okay. All right, so as far as further stars go, there's a lot of value to be had here, but we are probably not going to get it.
Yeah.
It would be like there's 200 fame behind this next fame star, and at 156 fame per turn, we're looking at like 700. We're looking at like 5-ish turns on that.
Yeah.
So we could hang out in this era another 5 turns. That's not going to get us any of these other stars, probably.
And what's the scoreboard at the moment?
Jesus. I'm not even sure where they're getting all that. All right, I am curious to meet our other neighbor, obviously. So for the moment, let me build 1 quadrireme here. And then, yeah, we have enough farmers that this is pretty strong. We still don't have that many horses. Okay, so can't move up into the next era's researches until we move up into the next era, you know,
Yeah.
as that goes. Maybe start learning about siege tactics, just in case.
Okay.
So we could step up. We could hang out 5 turns, maybe get another aesthetic star, maybe get our first leverage star if green starts moving troops over here again. Maybe get that expansionist star, although it feels extremely unlikely. I'm going to say it's pretty unlikely. Or we can move up. Nobody else has
Okay.
moved up yet.
And being the first to move up, does that give us something
Nope.
other than?
Well, I mean, it gives us first choice. Although, actually, the Aztecs are showing as taken here. So I think maybe green chose to move up this turn, and it just hasn't happened yet because the turn hasn't ended.
Okay.
Because I think otherwise we wouldn't be seeing this culture had been picked. This is not their previous culture, right? They were the Huns.
Right.
So I guess just to look forward, just to get an idea. The Bulgarians are a diplomat culture. Bonus leverage against the defeated empire in a battle won without losing units. They have a cavalry archer combat strength bonus after performing a ransack. Pretty okay, but we don't really have a lot of horses. And they have a science, influence, and faith building, plus influence when a leverage is collected. 2 extra turns before being converted by other players' religion on territories. I don't know. That seems okay. The Rapa Nui, who give +1 industry on coastal water tiles, and applies Makemake's Eye for 5 turns to newly created cities, which doesn't actually get a mouse over. They have a basic 34 strength military unit, which gains bonus combat strength when attacking through city walls. They got the ability to destroy enemy fortifications. And then the Moai religious district, which just generates tons of faith and food. Is a big stone head food?
Yes.
Okay. So
You
Healy
gotta
generate
boil it a
extra
long
stability from harbors, which is extremely whatever. An uncommonly flexible craft allows embarking and disembarking instantly. So it's a form of naval transport that lets you get in and out of the water faster. It doesn't really seem amazing. And the Bandari, which is a harbor that gives more money for each unique type of resources that you have available. The Taino are food focused. 3+3 food per number of territories in your sphere of influence on all cities. +2 food on commons quarters. And then, a commons quarter that gives considerable adjacent influence, or extra influence. And an archer. Ooh. So this unit can attack units without a clear line of sight. This is like basically siege weaponry.
Okay.
Archers. That's definitely useful. There are some situations where that's not going to do anything at all because you're just, fighting normal troops on open land. But anytime that helps, it's going to help a lot. The Byzantines get +5% money per alliance that they're part of. They have Varangian guards who cannot retreat but have a very high base melee strength. And the Hippodromos, which gives money, but especially gives money if you got horses.
Yeah.
The Franks, just a flat +10% influence. That seems fine. You get some Frankish knights. Receives a higher combat strength bonus when charging, which is a big heavy cavalry unit. And a Scriptorium, which gives both faith and science and influence when they're clustered together. Plus, you can do some Andreas Mahler roleplay.
The
Ghanaians, plus money per number of accesses to luxury resources. So just more resources is more money. They have an anti-cavalry cavalry unit, always a valuable tool. And and a market that likes to be near your other markets, which most of them do. Also, bonus money for trade routes. So yeah, a lot of like motivation to just have a lot of resources. Or perhaps a better way to put it is, if you already have a lot of resources, a lot of motivation to pick Ghana. The Teutons are an expansionist civilization whose power gives them money and science per state religion follower. Our religion is in a pretty rough shape right now. We've gotten pretty overfaithed by our neighbor. So that probably would not be super good for us. They, of course, have the Teutonic Knights. Bonus combat strength against enemies with a different state religion. Plus faith and influence and faith and, yeah. Also,
They're probably really bad on the ice, though.
It's a religious district that counts as a maker's quarter, which is something for adjacencies, I guess. The Khmer, plus 3 industry on every maker's quarter. Big bad combat elephants. Sorry, this is an elephant that has a ballista mounted on it. Big bad ballista mounted on an elephant. But the elephant makes it so that you don't take penalties in melee. You are at least competent in melee. And the beret is a maker's quarter and farmer's quarter that exploits both food and industry from the terrain and gives food and a massive industry per adjacent river tile. I mean, that's fucking very good. Honestly, the Khmer seem real strong to me all the way around.
Okay.
The English, the plow is mightier than the sword. You know how the English hate to use violence. So they have plus 7 food per number of attached territories on city or outpost. The serfs' labor, obtained, of course, without violence. They have the longbowmen, who also are an indirect fire, high range, you know. You know the thing.
I know the English longbow.
English longbow. And a stronghold, which is an improvement over the basic garrison that also counts as a farmer's quarter.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. When firing from a stronghold, friendly armies located on this district have plus 2 vision range and plus 2 attack range, which is pretty terrifying. The Mississippians, plus 3 industry on industry producing districts that are built on a river, and the same for money and food. They just build district on river to get more of the thing that the district does. The Cahokia Raider, which is each enemy unit destroyed in battle increases this unit's ardor combat strength bonus, which lasts until the battle is over. And the Sacred Mound, which doesn't produce, it's a religious district that produces a bit of faith and industry, but also reduces the industry cost of building adjacent to it. So you like put one down and then spiderweb your other districts around it. The Mongols cannot evolve outposts into cities during this era. Cannot place normal outposts. You're not making any cities in anyway while you're the Mongols. And you got horses, you know.
Yeah. I know their deal.
The Umayyads just give plus 5% science per alliance on all cities. They have a cavalry unit that drains additional stability during sieges. That's something. And the Grand Mosque, a research quarter and religious district that sure enough does the things that those both do. And finally, the Norsemen, bonus movement and combat strength on naval units. They got a fancy boat here that ignores deep water penalties. It's a naval transport that completely ignores deep water penalties, which is not anything that's easy to get necessarily at this point in the game.
Yeah.
And a harbor replacement that generates more food and plus 50 money every time you perform a ransack, it seems like, which is kind of cool. So I don't know. What do you think? Do we want to jump into one of these immediately? Do we want to try to hang out for more fame? I am a little worried that if we don't get a few more stars, we might just get famed out of the game.
Okay, let's hold back for now because
I'm going to try to be hopeful here.
From the leverage star, like 4 more turns or something.
Well, we're however many turns it takes to find another source of leverage.
Oh, right. Right.
For the influence star, we're like 4 turns away from it.
Okay. That's what I meant.
Yeah, green has moved up to the medieval era.
The first
So I mean,
ship
I think
is a
the thing as
wonderful
far
thing.
as
Sadly for the crew, we're likely to see the first seasickness as well.
This is the first ship we've
the-
actually built, which is why we got that line.
there's the question of when we move, but what faction we choose, and I think it's going to depend on like what is our way forward. What are we doing in the third era? Because it does feel like we're kind of constricted as far as our territory goes.
Yeah, at the moment it does feel that way for sure.
And is like so what is the way you would how would you what are you thinking about what's coming ahead and how you want to approach that?
I mean, I don't know if that really affects us at all.
Well, I mean, is there
It makes us
because-
not want to pick an expansionist civ,
Okay.
but we weren't going to do that anyway. Yeah, I don't think that has a strong effect.
Okay, that's interesting to me because like my instinct would be like, all right, I'm gonna have to jump up on like the military stuff to take some territory, so I would need to lean to something that's gonna be good for me militarily, for example, and even though they're not really a threat, like the blue player is not a threat compared to the other 2 players, they would be easy to take out comparatively. Not easy, but like
Yeah.
if I had to target one.
Yeah, don't go thinking that we're like definitely going to be able to conquer them necessarily.
What if we ask him, just give us your territory? Maybe he'll just give it to us.
I think he doesn't want war to that degree. All right, I'm hoping we
this is
can
a place-
find just like a landmass around
over
here
there,
somewhere.
yeah. And this is a place where you and I think, not differ, but like, you're able to look at the situation and be like, okay, this is not going to affect that. And I don't have the capacity to read all the options and say that it's not that's a trivial thing. I assume there must be something bigger that I'm missing. So it's interesting to have you talk it through like that. So like, well, no, this isn't really going to matter. We're not going to pick this. And
Yeah, it's like it's a very unclaimed territory. It's a very standard thing in 4X games to just kind of like to reach a point where you don't need to expand anymore.
mm-hmm.
We start moving a unit in that territory in that direction. We're gonna see if we can get close to that. I don't think we can, but
Now, if you're able to get that unclaimed territory, would that not give you a territory star?
yeah, I mean we'd have to claim it though,
Yeah.
which means getting a land unit on it so that they can build an outpost. And it is far from trivial for us to build land units at this point. Also, you might notice I've stopped building districts. If we're going to transition into another building culture after this, I do want to make sure that we have as many good district locations as possible available. So,
Right.
just trying to keep us ready to move up. So I think I'm gonna grab, I don't know, maybe just some bonus vision. Just keep an eye on enemy soldiers. The city's doing just fine on what do you call it? Stability, I think. We're not really built for money production here. So this says it gives +4 access and +5 industry. +4 access. Oh, on the copper deposit. It'll give us more. Right, we'll pull more copper out of the deposits. That's probably. I mean, it's kind of interesting, and in any case, it's a fair amount of industry. So we're gonna get this. We're gonna get this star next turn. At this point.
Okay.
Just having my envoy poke around down here for any intel that we haven't had vision of, because we haven't had vision of the sort of foggy bits over here in a while. Unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to be getting much in the way of that. Grab a little curiosity. So this is part of Magenta's landmass.
Okay.
That they just haven't expanded over for whatever reason. Hard to imagine why, but I'm certainly not going to complain about it. All right, we learned about siege tactics. There's another star. And so unfortunately, yeah, this gap here is just, it's too large for a land unit to cross.
Did one of the factions have a transport that?
Yeah.
Okay.
The large number of farming districts has led to a blossoming of knowledge of plants for health, sustenance, and medicine. With the Empire at peace and stable enough to support such a move, never before has there been a better time to make official the status of your most learned brothers and sisters. Do you wish to found such a caste of priests of nature, effectively? We can reject this. We could use this time of peace and plenty to instead focus on better trained armies. Or we can go ahead and establish that. Seems prudent to have wise men and women who know crops among our population. And this pushes us in the direction of progress. I mean, I don't think the Blue's actually going to go to war with us. In part because I think it would be really fucking stupid. But maybe that's exactly what, you know? Maybe that is precisely what they will do. So yeah, I gotta say, I don't think we're getting this. I think we should just move on.
Okay.
2 points of population until we have the agrarian star. Well, actually, we are like right on the edge of that though. That's our first agrarian star? No, it would be the second, so it's worth 200 fame. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good. So this is a border.
No doubt this independent people possess sophisticated customs, rights, language, and beliefs. I do hope you're going to treat them well.
Yeah, this is a border that is not player colored.
Okay.
That is something of interest to us. What are y'all doing over here? So not getting much payoff from any of these buildings at this point. You know what? 7 industry is still pretty good. So I am going to wait for that agrarian star. I know I keep being like, oh no, we'll flip it over next turn. Whatever, we'll get there next turn. But you know,
I mean, you're in a situation where you're pretty. How far behind are you compared to the other two?
very, Green is absolutely crushing it. I think we've sort of strangled blue out of the game.
Does green have? Hang on. Is green 1 star away from era 4?
Yeah.
That's okay. I mean, that's the thing that can happen, I guess. I don't.
So, will this independent people be an ally or an enemy? A barrier or a blessing? Their future may not be in their hands.
I was hoping to meet them, but we have to get some mutual vision established here. So if I walk over to your city, I can do an action that gains us both influence, it seems like, which is cool, I guess. Yeah, that seems fine. So yeah, when we move up into the next era, it's likely that we'll gain a bunch of stars pretty quickly as well. So
Okay.
I'm sort of like coiling here, storing up a lot of potential. Okay, somebody took the Norseman. We got that agrarian star. This is probably the moment.
Okay.
I don't think we're likely to get another star for a while. Yeah, see, so we can make it this far, end up lost at sea, and then the next turn we'd make it to here before we sink. And unfortunately, there's not anything that this ship can do about that.
A new independent people. And who are they? Time will tell if they are helpful, helpless, or history.
Okay,
Do
no.
you need voiceover every
You need to sign the established contract treaty before you can praise or bribe them. I'm into treaties. Okay, so this system's a little bit different than it used to be. Select an available treaty to have these people sign it. It provides you, provided you have a large enough share of total patronage. You can only sign one treaty per group at a time. So,
You've signed your first treaty with an independent people. One more step on the road to cooperation.
so they have already had dealings with both pink and green, and we are like way behind.
Yeah.
So it allows you to access patronage and use the bribe and praise actions. So we can provide them with money bribe or influence bribe, basically, to earn some amount of patronage per turn, and we can spend that patronage to move up their little tree of treaties. Eventually being able to get access to their tradable resources, the ability to hire mercenary armies from them, the ability to just take a portion of their science, and eventually the idea is you can assimilate them or make them into a client state.
Gotcha.
Green and pink are so far ahead of us on that I don't know that I really even think it's valuable to do this. I guess it would be good to put some pressure on green, not just let green have this trivially. But we don't actually know exactly how much favor either of them have. We just know they're both in this area. I'm gonna send them some resources. We'll generate some. Oh no, okay, we do get to see how much patronage people have. So pink is winning.
Yeah.
Magenta should, in theory, be able to take this away from green. Should they want to, and we just have to hope that they want to. All right, so let's pick a new civ. The Norsemen and the Aztecs got taken. My thinking was definitely more along the lines of like the Khmer It is still the case that we have a lot of rivers in our capital, but not so much in the other city. Taino don't seem terrible either. What do you think?
I think I think you'll go with your first.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with the Khmer, we are once again just like, hey, let's build a bunch of districts. Plus, cool outfits. You know, there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be able to cross this water any more easily as the Khmer, sadly. At least I don't think so. Let's stick my head out and we'll see. All right, so we can start building a district now, and you know, we'll be putting energy toward the thing that we care about eventually. This city probably needs... Well, yeah, this wouldn't be bad. 10 industry. And you can try to build along a river. I mean, that's pretty strong. Okay, here we go. Era changeover.
Wisdom and technical innovation from earlier eras bring humankind new knowledge, and we immediately use it to find new ways to kill each other off. Greater empires build more powerful armies, but brute strength may be defeated by superior innovations. It is brains versus brawn, with ever richer cities as tempting spoils for the victor. For innovation and brute strength, the Khmer present you with sophisticated hydraulic engineering and ballista-equipped elephants. I like it.
I mean, who wouldn't? All right, so that first builder star is a distance. It is 14 more districts away from where we are. We got some new science, new territory stars and stuff available, obviously. Territory stars are going to be tough.
Yeah.
But we can keep an eye on the rest of this stuff. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling pretty worried. I think we're like, you're getting an idea of the mechanics here, but I clearly am not playing a great game, though. Just in terms of raw output.
Yeah. Well, I think, too, because we really don't know what Pink has been doing at all with Green. Right? And
yeah.
I think you've done a good job keeping Blue at bay. Pink has not done such a great job with their situation, I don't think. Although, you know, obviously they're doing... I don't know. I want to be too hard on yourself. You know, it did seem like Endless Legend as well was, you know, was tough sometimes. And someone really smart.
So, will this independent people be an ally or an enemy? A barrier or a blessing? Their future may not be in their hands.
I'm not sure what his deal is, why he is being like that.
Okay, well, what's this going on?
The world, as it ever was, is divided into the rulers and the ruled. Great sprawling empires and proud independent cities. Your struggle is with other empires, but you should not forget the part these free cities can play. So, how should we use other peoples? And we can see blue and green both chose this one. Why let our own blood be spilled when we can pay others to fight? Moves the regulationism bar toward, or the economic bar toward collectivism, which is money stuff, and a reduction in the cost of the higher army action, or a reduction in the cost of signing treaties with independent peoples in general, which moves us significantly toward the collectivism side of the bar, giving us a significant bonus to industry. I mean, it's got to be that one, both mechanically and otherwise.
Their weapons. Assimilation does seem practical.
Even beyond the direct effect that it has on them, like just a percentage boost to our industry output is considerable given.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What I was saying is, someone once said that failure is instructive. Let's learn something, and I think we're learning, and I'm really enjoying watching you play this and play against in a situation where it's not like super easy. Like the problem with when we saw Endless Space 2 is not only, was it the soup, but like you were winning for so long. So I don't know. I wouldn't be too hard on yourself. I think you are playing better than I would. I think you are playing well, and I think you are playing in a way that is entertaining and instructive for the purposes of Forex School.
okay. Well, if you're done,
Also, you're beautiful.
if you're done making me very uncomfortable in front of the viewers, that's going to be it for us for today. I think we're just going to go ahead and put up the screen here. We've moved our way into the medieval era. We're sort of like in the mid game now, and we have to figure out a way to wrest the momentum away from green. And that, I mean, maybe that's military. Maybe there's some violence in the very near future. I don't really know, but it's definitely something we have to think about. So come back next time for that, and we'll see you then.